So, hey guys, welcome to the Valor Hero podcast, where we are here to help people live a life to their full potential. My name is Mark Brown. I'm here with my boy Jaden Allen.
How's it going, guys?
How you doing, man?
Good.
Good. Hey, I got a ton of questions. I want to kind of ask you about the industry and how your experience has been so far. As you know, so many people in this industry, don't see the vision or don't have the drive required. But what did you do before, starting the Valor?
So what I was doing before I started at Valor, I was at a fast food restaurant, and I was actually doing management pretty much the whole time. So yeah, that's really what I was doing before. I just kind of wanted to take a dive into something that would better my career.
Okay, cool. So you didn't feel like in the fast food industry there was a great long-term success story there?
Not at all, no. It's also something that I didn't really enjoy a lot. I did it with a slight passion, but did I actually enjoy it? No, not really.
Okay, all right. How long have you been here with Valor now?
I've been here since February of 2024.
So next month is a year.
Yeah.
Okay, year in door-to-door sales. Tell me, what drew you to the solar industry and Valor specifically?
What drew me to the solar industry specifically, nothing too specific. I did kind of want to I guess I just took it as a challenge. I wanted to challenge myself.
Okay.
I honestly doubted myself a little bit, but I pushed myself into giving it a shot, and it just I actually did give a couple companies a try at the same amount of time, and I just took away from Valor the awesome culture and the amount that they pour into their employees just to make sure that they can be the best that they can possibly be.
All right, cool, man. What would you say is a defining moment where you realized that this was a career you'd follow with?
Probably when I realized how seriously hard it is and how competitive I am with myself. It takes a lot for me to actually quit something. So the more I got into it, I just got more invested and more motivated to reach the ceiling of my potential,
Sure. So you've been here a year. You've seen so many people, find this industry and they get sold on the dream of, hey, I can go become a better version of myself. Why do you think so many people are unsuccessful?
Reason most people tend to be so unsuccessful is they find it hard to be their own boss, and they find it hard to hold themselves accountable. And a lot of people, they expect results right away, and they kind of just tend to give up on it a little bit.
Sure. Okay, makes sense. I mean, I know we were just training on that.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff. So what do you think makes you different, and why you were able to find success in this industry while so many others aren't?
I guess I just believed in myself that I could do it, and I didn't want to let myself down, honestly. I'm huge on kind of just fulfilling the goals that I set for myself.
Okay. All right. So goal driven,
exactly.
So if somebody else is looking for an industry to join, they basically need you feel like they need to be a goal driven individual, right? To excel in an industry like this?
I would say so, yeah. Maybe say so, yeah.
Sounds good. So what is your why? We talk about why a lot. From day one of training, we always ask you, what is your why? What's your driving force? What would you say your why is? Why do you show up every day? Why do you go grind? Why do you hit the doors?
My why, I've had the same why since I was little. I didn't have my dad around, and I wanted my dad around, and I feel like I'd know a lot more. I feel like my head would be a lot more straight on my shoulders if my dad was around. And I witnessed a lot of the mistakes he made, and my why is just to simply just be the man that my dad didn't teach me to be. Um, I don't know. That's kind of just really mainly my why.
So you learned kind of what you didn't want to be as a grown man. You said, okay, what is it going to take me to be the version of myself that I see, right? Or the dad. So obviously you don't have kids yet, not married yet. Yeah, but you want to be prepared to be that man, obviously sounds like in the future. Yeah. Cool. Love that. Okay. We'll switch gears a little bit. That was just a little all about you, but like, okay. Having never had a career like this, tell me what it was like starting at Valor. Like, what did that feel like when you first started?
There was fear. There was a lot of fear.
Okay.
I didn't know how long it'd take me to get the hang of it. There was times where there was times where I was like, how much longer am I gonna go without making what I need to make before I want to give up?
Right.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, were you doing other things as well as this to like make sure you're making ends meet?
Yes, I was, and I learned that it did help keep me alive, but at the same time, like I would have much rather been putting as much focus into this as I possibly can, because the more you show up, the more reps you put in, the more you're here, the more you level up.
Love that. Okay, cool. How long do you think it took you to build confidence in yourself in this industry? It's a good question for you.
It took me quite a while. I doubted my ability to perform for a little bit, and like I wouldn't say I didn't get my confidence until like my 4th or 5th month, maybe.
Okay, so then obviously I think that probably has a lot to do with hours invested. So if you were putting in full-time work, do you think that would have been a lot faster?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I talk often about kind of this switch that goes off in young men and women in this industry. Do you feel like you had a switch moment where it was like, I'm going to be successful no matter what and make this work? Or does that ring a bell with you at all? Was there a switch?
There was, but there wasn't. Like I said, I am just kind of like super competitive with myself. So I didn't want to stop until I succeeded in this industry. Like, I don't want to stop until I succeed.
I know for me, it felt like when you went on your first blitz, like, and you went away for what, I think it was 6 or 8 days with the team, stayed in the Airbnb, and it was awesome. Jaden, you've been showing up like crazy since then, right? So that seemed like it was a switch. I know from my perspective, you've been showing up consistently before that, but that was when like the success really started taking off. Would you?
Yeah. I learned from all my coworkers, but it's also like I'm not only competitive with myself, but with them as well. Like I definitely want to come out of all these blitzes and be able to say I was the best setter.
Nice, good.
And the mindset, when I walk in with that mindset, it's confidence. I'm most likely to come out of the blitz as number 1 setter because I walk in with that mindset.
What does it take to be the number 1 setter on a blitz?
You got to work more than everybody. You basically got to out hustle everybody.
Yeah, I know. It seems like you were always first one out on the doors, last one back at the house at the end of the night, calling everybody else. But it seems like you were kind of like under the radar, just throwing up appointments, not calling trash, not talking crap, like just like, I'm just going to work. I'm going to show them. I'm going to show up. Right. Love that. It's kind of alluded to this, but like, why didn't you quit in the first 4 or 5 months when you weren't finding success yet?
Because I've always my dream as a kid was to be a professional basketball player, and I shattered my dreams pretty early just because I didn't think I'd be able to get in shape. I just didn't think I'd be able to get there. And so I've always just been exploring on ever since I knew I was going to be a professional athlete. I just was exploring careers that would bring in that kind of money.
Okay.
And every career I found, you got to invest time, the doctors, dentists,
right,
10 to 12 years, 8 minimum, to get to where they want to be at. And so here, what made me not quit was just you have to be patient. The results are gonna come when they're gonna come. They're gonna come at the right time.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. I just like I didn't quit because I gotta invest real time into it, and if I want to at least get a real feel for it, you can't just dip your feet in the water.
That's true. No, you got to go all in for sure. You know, we always talk about like sales being the corporate athlete, right? So even though it's not basketball, like we treat it just like a sport, right? We train freaking hard, we get better, we track the stats, you know, and we can make freaking athlete money, which is pretty cool. Let's see. What do I want to ask here next? Let's see. We just talked through goals, and I know I kind of called you out on your goal a little bit. During that discussion, do you think you changed your goal?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what is your new goal for 2025 financially?
I would say 130, 140 grand.
Okay. Did you ever think 2 years ago that you'd be in a career like this where like you 6 figures would be on the target?
No.
No? Pretty amazing. 23-year-old guy. Like, I'm going to go make 6 figures this year. I love that, man. Okay. So if you could go back and you're like rewind to your first day at Valor, have you ever experienced anything like that?
No, I hadn't. That's a huge part of what drew me in was just like the culture. Again, it just like and the longer I've been here, it just seriously almost becomes like family.
What piece of advice would you give yourself or brand new hire today? Like those guys are in their brand new first day. What's one piece of advice you would give them right now?
A good piece of advice that I would give them is to, I don't know, yeah, I have a lot of advice I could probably give. I'm trying to think of like.
What's up, Jaden is saying, you look back on yourself right now and say, you went in that room and you see a young Jaden a year ago sitting in that chair, what would you tell him right now?
Wake up. You gotta wake up. Because like you said, if I put my pedal to the metal, like when I first walked in the door, I probably would have clicked up here a lot sooner than it did.
Sure.
So people, they come in, like I've seen people come in and they like take advantage of like making their own schedule.
Yeah, it's an advantage.
Yeah. But it's
a double-edged sword.
You gotta shoot for the stars. Don't set your bar low, because if you like don't believe that you could hit those numbers, then you're probably not.
I think it was Henry Ford that said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Or you're most likely right. And that's one of the best quotes. Okay, so you've been out here, helping people sign up for solar appointments for 12 months now. Starting to see great success with it. What would be one piece of advice you would give to homeowners who are on the fence for making the switch?
Piece of advice I'd give to a homeowner
that's hesitant to like listen to someone knocks on their door or that hasn't switched over to solar yet.
They really don't know what they're saying no to, and they kind of should at least give it the opportunity to hear about what's changed. Solar's been around since 70s, older than my mom's been around. That was probably the best time to switch over to it, and second time is probably now.
For sure.
Yeah. So a lot of people they're kind of stuck on what the catch is, I guess, maybe.
They think it's a scam or something like that.
Yeah.
It was too good to be true for that. Okay, cool. All right, we'll switch gears again here. In the last 12 months, what areas in your life have you seen the most personal growth?
My level of happiness has honestly driven through the roofs, and it is pretty crazy to witness because just before I got into this job, I was super depressed, and I've just been through a lot of traumatic events in my life, and just have I was hurt for quite a long time, and I feel like just the more I started investing into myself and just doing whatever I could to help myself elevate each day, it just started slowly bringing me so much happiness. And for me, that's something like money didn't buy my happiness. Like, it generally was just like watching myself elevate, because I've came from the mud.
Right. I understand completely. And so you're saying, like, plugging into like the Valor culture, focusing on, we focus a lot on trying to live your best life. And that doesn't, and often I tell people that's not the money, it's the journey, right? That's one of my favorite parts, has been watching you grow and seeing the steps you've made. It's just really fun. I remember in the beginning, you'd struggle to show up on time, right? And then, it's having you do burpees and mountain climbers and stuff like that. And now you're early every time. And have those habits started to affect your personal life? Has anybody else in your personal life noticed the change?
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of people, when I first got into this industry, like a lot of the people that I'm like surrounded with, they didn't believe that I'd make it. They thought I was gonna be wasting my time. You're going strong,
Right.
And I've kind of got them on the movement that, like, just to kind of level yourself up every day. Like, even if I haven't got them so much as sold on getting into door to door,
Right.
but I've got them pretty sold on living my lifestyle, like getting like the way I get myself up every day and kind of doing what I need to do to be successful.
That's actually one of my questions, is how have your personal habits changed in the last 12 months?
They have honestly helped me grow up a little bit, because like I'm even starting to like from scratch cook my own meals now. And like I was like just a year ago,
Get all of it all of a sudden.
yeah, it's like just a year ago I was like going to McDonald's all the time and like eating bowls of cereal for dinner.
Sure.
So it's just like, it's truly increased just the entire lifestyle. And yeah.
Good. Okay, all right, a little door-to-door specific stuff. So, like, do you have any like specific like tips, tricks, or habits or rituals that you do before you go hit the doors?
I don't know where I'd be without my music.
Yeah, I know you're always walking around. You got your
Right.
headphones and stuff like that all the time. So, is there any specific song that like gets you going before you hit your shift, or what's that look like?
Lose Yourself by Eminem's always a good one. And I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be nowhere without music. So there's an endless amount of songs that just like pump me up and motivate me. And it's to the point where like I listen to some music for like 10 to 20 minutes before I go out on the doors. And it doesn't matter how rude of a person I get. Like I'll walk to the next door with the same energy. So music is a really good one.
Okay.
And also meditating, just kind of sitting there and just kind of
Like, you do that beforehand, during, after you've heard no 10 times, like, or is that the morning habit? Like, wait up.
it's typically like 5 to 10 minutes, not necessarily before, like right before I knock, but just like some time frame before I knock.
Okay.
Like, it could be like when I wake up, or I try to find a way to fit it in somehow there, but it does help with just kind of like keeping my pace under control a little bit. Like that way I'm not like
Nervous,
anxious, rushing to the point where they're struggling to understand me.
They get like that. All right. How do you deal with rejection?
I smile. I put on the biggest smile and just totally understand.
Good. Okay. What role do you think the team culture dynamic at Valor plays in your daily motivation?
A lot, honestly. I felt like from start to now, I could still rely on my leaders and things like that. to the point where they're investing extra time into me still. And it was super good. Like as time went on, that I was just able to always have a leader right next to me.
Right.
Anytime I had a question, anytime I was like feeling down, even it was just super clutch to have a leader right there next to me every step of the way.
For sure. Agreed. I hear that. Who would you say inspires you the most on the team?
Who inspires me most on the team? Probably Jeremiah,
Okay. Is there a reason why?
because he doesn't stop for nothing, and I don't know, he was the one who was super invested in me like from day one, and he just like really wants to see us all win, not just me. Like he's invested the same way as he is into me as everybody else.
Love that. No, he's awesome. Let's see. Almost done here. There's a lot of questions. What would you say is one thing you've learned from your coworkers that has changed your approach to this career?
I have just their different styles. Like not everybody's the same, and like a huge part of me being able to learn was being able to take constructive criticism from even those that aren't leaders.
Right.
Like just learning from anybody that I can, it was super beneficial, because there's like I've taken a little something away from everyone, and just
I think you said something really important there is the willingness to take constructive criticism, right? So many people in our industry and just in the world, let their pride get in the way. And, we know that there's no ego in sales. There's no ego in door-to-door. Like we are all here to just strive to become our best selves. And so being willingness and open to listen to all the feedback is so important. I hear you there. Cool. Okay, that's a good one. How does working at Valor compare to other companies you've worked at in your life in terms of camaraderie and support?
A lot of the companies I worked at in the past, they weren't like super serious jobs. Like a lot of them were like retail,
Yeah,
and fast food, but they just it was just so easy for you to be replaced, and it's just like they didn't care to make you feel that way neither. Like you could know every step of the way how easy it is for you to be replaced. Like I know you're supposed to like dictate your own value and stuff like that, but it's also clutch to be made feel like you're valuable. And so I have been made feel like I'm very valuable, and just like the recognition you guys give is awesome. Like you don't get that just anywhere.
well, it's interesting. Obviously, we're not, this is a relatively high turnover industry because of some of the things we've talked about. A lot of people don't have the grit required or the ability to be their own boss. But I know for like me and James, I think the thing that keeps us up the most is the death of potential, right? When we see people that we know and we can see the greatness in them, but they don't have the ability to see the greatness in themselves. So obviously our job as leaders is to try to pull that out of them, right? Those that have the grit, that show up every day. And, we always say, like, if you keep showing up, we will continue to pour into you every day. And I think you're a great example of that. Always showing up to training, always just here to get better. And then finally it clicked. Like, okay, I've got this. I love that. So, yeah. A couple industry questions. Like, what do you think the most common misconception is about solar and the reason people don't have it already?
I think it's probably because people, they're not really up to par on like how things have changed, and I guess a lot of these older programs just kind of have given people their own kind of thoughts about it.
Okay, like, what do you mean by that?
So
So, like, what's changed? Like, what do you think the biggest belief system is that's holding them back?
that probably I don't know, people have always like kind of noticed with the past programs that there's been a lien stuck on the home and things like that.
Like in old leases and PPAs from okay. Like you knock a lot of doors, you talk to a lot of people. What's the number one reason you get that people aren't willing to listen to you?
A lot of people think it's expensive.
Okay, so you think cost is a big factor.
Well, yeah, a lot of people think a lot of people don't like the idea of feeling that they're going to be trapped in a loan for a really long time when really they're already in debt. They're just turning that debt into an asset.
It's called a utility bill. It's the never-ending contract they can't get out of. That the price increases 3 to 5 times a year.
Yeah.
Versus like solar, it's taking the money they already spend. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I hear as well. Is they think it's going to cost them a bunch of money, and little do they know it's cheaper than what they're paying for now. Cool. Let's see. Give me do you have like a great success story of an interaction with a homeowner that you can remember or recall?
A great success story.
Or what would you say would be one of the funniest things that's happened to you in door to door?
There's too much on that list of like funny things to happen, but success stories. I talk to people every day that love their solar, and it's just like, I don't know why it's so hard to like for people to believe that, because I tell people like, hey, I just talked to your neighbor. They're really loving it over there. They lowered the bill, kept it fixed.
Yeah.
And they're not dealing with inflation anymore.
Right. True. Let's see. If you could describe your journey of Valor in one word, what would that word be? I didn't give you any preparation for any of these.
If I could describe my journey at Valor in one word, it would probably be growth.
Growth. This is a good one too. That's a great word. I don't know if you remember last year. I was like, guys, what's your word of the year? And that might be a great word of the year for this year.
Yeah.
How much more growth do you think you have?
A lot. There's
iceberg, right?
There's no ceiling, I don't think. Like I think there's growing I can do every single day. Like, in any way, I think there's a little bit of growing that I could do.
I love it. What is your favorite quote or mantra?
My favorite quote, I don't really keep quotes glued in my head like that. Gosh, I idolized Kobe Bryant.
I remember us talking about Kobe a lot.
I don't really know any of his like quotes by heart, or actually I do. I think it's if you see me in a fight with the bear, you better pray for the bear.
Dude, love it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I love that. We should put that one on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the legacy you want to leave here at Valor? If you ever leave Valor, hopefully you never do. Do your best forever. But theoretically, if what would that legacy look like?
I want to leave a legacy here that when people just kind of look at me as the guy who didn't quit, the guy who seriously believed in himself, and like I want to be that example to people, and just show them that if they can build that grit within themselves and determination, and if they just keep showing up, that they will get there.
Love that. Yeah, I love that. So obviously, I think you've had a conversation with Will about becoming a leader, right? And us giving you a couple guys to mentor, and is that something you're excited about?
I am super excited about it.
What will you do different than maybe some of the other leaders? Or why you want to become a leader?
I want to become a leader because I feel like it will not only help them level up more, but help me level up more as well.
Okay.
I feel like it definitely will kind of just help things click up here a lot more. That like things have already clicked up here, but it'll probably just like help them click a lot more because of the consistency, that I'm putting into the industry, and
Right.
just being so what's the word? Focused, I guess. So focused.
All right, last one here. If you could teach one person that is not, that maybe has an hourly job or a salary job, what's one piece of mindset advice you would give them?
Put your pride to the side. A lot of people, they don't think that they seriously like won't even give it a shot, to the point where they just like, they either think they don't have what it takes, or like they don't think they could change their personality, like adjust to this type of industry. But yeah, I mean, I've talked to a handful of my friends about like possibly getting into the industry,
Right.
and they just don't see themselves doing it.
That's the whole comfort zone trap, right? You know, all the magic happens outside the comfort zone. And so I think people really get stuck, you know, going to a job every day where they're told what to do and where to be, and they're told what they're worth. And, you know, to switch, I talk about this on, you know, every day when I'm doing interviews, is the ability to go from the employee mindset of, which we're trained from birth basically to become an employee, to the CEO mindset. That I'm in charge of my life. I get to choose what I'm worth. I get to choose what I make. That's an impossible jump for so many people. Yeah. Any last takeaways? You know, stuff like that. Just things you want to say to the world about like your career here.
I will say this is my first podcast, so didn't do a lot of prepping either. So
You're fine, dude. It's this conversation. So, love you guys. Feel free to tune in. We'll be back soon.